Gentle History for Sleep, Episode 8, Segment 1, A Quiet Beginning. Before tea became a ritual, before it was poured into fine cups, before it shaped afternoons, conversations, and entire workdays, much of the world lived slightly differently. For centuries, in many parts of Europe, children and adults alike drank weak beer or ale every day, not for celebration or excess, but because clean water was often unreliable. In England during the 16th and early 17th centuries, small beer, usually no stronger than 1 or 2% alcohol, was a daily staple. It was served at meals given to children and trusted more than water flowing through crowded streets and open drains. By modern standards, daily life existed in a mild and constant haze. No one set out to change that, and yet, quietly, without campaigns or laws, something did. What began as a simple leaf steeped in hot water would, over time, reduce alcohol consumption, reshape daily routines, influence class behavior, and even play a role in wars and revolutions. Some of those consequences were intentional, many were not. Before we continue, consider a small pause. What is your daily drink of choice today? Tea of any kind, coffee, or something else entirely? If you feel like sharing, you are welcome to leave a comment. Many people listening now are likely wondering the same thing. Tea did not arrive in the Western world as a solution, it arrived as a curiosity. Segment 2, Leaves, Water and Attention. In China, tea had already been cultivated and written about for centuries before it became habitual elsewhere. Early references appear as far back as the Han period, but during the Tang dynasty, between the 7th and 9th centuries, tea moved beyond medicine and into daily routine. By the mid-8th century, tea was no longer just something taken for health, it was something shared. One of the first people to recognize this shift was Lu Yu, born around the year 733. His work, The Cosmetics of Tea, completed around 760, was not a manual of efficiency, but a meditation on process. He wrote about water sources, vessels, timing, and care, believing tea revealed its character only when handled with attention. In Buddhist monasteries, tea took on another role. Monks found it helped them remain awake during long hours of meditation, not stimulated, but present. This association between tea and focused calm would travel far. As tea culture spread within China, preparation methods evolved, but the habit remained the same. Heat water, wait, drink, and pause. When tea crossed to Japan, it carried this discipline with it. Tea reached Japan by the early 9th century, brought by monks who had studied in China. At first, it remained within temples and the imperial court, rare and closely tied to spiritual practice. Over time, Japanese tea culture developed its own path. By the 15th and 16th centuries, the tea ceremony had taken shape, emphasizing movement, silence, and intention. Every gesture had meaning, nothing was rushed. Tea rooms were designed to reduce distraction. Where Chinese tea culture emphasized harmony with nature, Japanese tea culture emphasized awareness of the present moment. Both traditions shared something essential. Tea was not consumed on the move, it required stopping. Long before tea reduced alcohol consumption in Europe, long before it structured work days or sparked political conflict, it trained people quietly to sit, wait, and pay attention. Segment 3. When tea entered Europe. When tea arrived in Europe in the early 17th century, it entered through ports and private rooms, limited, expensive, and unfamiliar. Portuguese and Dutch traders introduced small quantities by the 1610s. In England, one of the earliest printed references appeared in 1658, advertising a drink called tea. Tea entered elite life, especially after 1662 when Catherine of Braganza married Charles II and continued her habit at court. imitation followed. Tea was served in drawing rooms at fixed times using imported porcelain. It created a pause that alcohol did not. At first, tea existed alongside ale and beer, but habits compound. By the early 18th century, tea spread into merchant households, prices fell, and tea shifted from luxury to aspiration. It was consumed at tables with children present, conversations slowed, and clarity replaced intoxication. Tea made it acceptable to pause without alcohol. As demand grew, supply systems expanded. By the mid-18th century, tea was no longer neutral. Dependencies rarely are. Segment 4. When a habit became a cause. Britain's growing tea consumption created a trade imbalance with China. Silver flowed east, tea flowed west. British traders responded by exporting opium to China. By the 1830s, addiction was widespread. In 1839, Lin Zexu destroyed opium stockpiles at Canton. Conflict followed. The First Opium War ended in 1842 with the Treaty of Nanking. Tea was not the only cause, but it was central. At the same time, in the American colonies, tea had become ordinary enough to symbolize control. In December 1773, colonists dumped East India Company tea into Boston Harbor. Tea had become a political fault line because it had become indispensable. What had begun as a quiet habit now influenced global power, not through force, but through scale. Segment 5. A quiet shift in behavior. Even as tea provoked conflict abroad, it continued reshaping life at home. Over the 18th and early 19th centuries, tea gradually replaced alcohol as the default daily drink. Children were given tea with milk instead of small beer. Adults turned to tea for routine hydration. No law enforced this shift. Tea fit a changing world. It encouraged sitting, waiting, alert calm, reading, writing, and sustained attention. Alcohol became the drink of occasion. Tea became the drink of routine. This redefined daily life. Tea marked time. Morning tea, afternoon tea, evening tea. By quietly replacing alcohol as the everyday drink, tea helped shape a culture better suited to sustained focus and repetition. Segment 6. Class ritual and the shape of the day. In the 1840s, Anna Russell, Duchess of Bedford, popularized afternoon tea to bridge the long gap between meals. Tea rooms spread, offering calm public spaces, especially for women. Homes reorganized around tea tables. Etiquette manuals codified service. In factories, tea breaks restored attention without disrupting discipline. Tea aligned with order. By the 19th century, refusing tea was no longer neutral. The habit had become a norm. Tea had moved from preference to expectation. Segment 7. Tea in the modern world. Today, tea remains the second most consumed beverage in the world after water. It appears as loose leaf, tea bags, bottled tea, matcha, and herbal infusions. The forms change, the habit persists. Tea accommodates pace. It can be slow or fast, shared or solitary. Heat water, wait, drink. The pause remains. Even in a faster world, tea continues to offer continuity rather than urgency. Segment 8. 5 teas for everyday moments. Historically, people paired different teas with different moments. Green tea with study and focused calm. Black tea with endurance and routine. Chamomile with evenings and rest. Peppermint after meals. Ginger for warmth and travel. These were traditions, not prescriptions. Needs varied. Contexts mattered. And tea was chosen as much for habit as for belief. Tea's true contribution was never certainty. It was permission to pause. Segment 9. Habit that endured. Tea was never designed to change the world. It spread because it fit. Over time, Repetition replaced some stronger habits, structured days, and softened life without force. If you value this kind of calm, fact-based history, you can support this channel by subscribing, returning to listen another evening, or sharing it with someone who may enjoy history told gently. Each helps keep this project quiet and ongoing. When you think of tea now, after its long journey through habit, class, conflict, and calm, perhaps it feels slightly different. Thank you for listening. We will continue gently in the next episode. Part 2. Tea, Time, and the Modern Mind segment. 10. Tea and the Measurement of Time. By the late 19th century, tea had become more than a habit. It had become a clock. In homes, factories, and offices, tea marked moments with a regularity that few other customs achieved. Unlike church bells or factory whistles, tea did not announce itself loudly. It invited participation rather than obedience. A kettle warming on a stove signaled a pause approaching. Cups arranged on a table signaled a shared moment. Tea divided the day into softer intervals, not hours enforced, but moments agreed upon. This mattered in an age when time itself was being standardized. Railways introduced timetables, factories introduced shifts. Tea offered a human-scale counterbalance, a pause that fit inside schedules without resisting them. It allowed people to stop briefly without stepping outside the system. In this way, tea helped people adapt to modern time rather than be overwhelmed by it. Segment 11. Tea, Reading, and Quiet Focus. As literacy increased through the 18th and 19th centuries, tea found a natural companion in reading. Books, pamphlets, letters, and newspapers were often consumed alongside a cup of tea. Unlike alcohol, tea did not blur words or shorten attention. It encouraged stillness and continuity. Reading rooms, libraries, and private studies frequently included tea service. This pairing was not accidental. Tea supported long stretches of quiet concentration. It allowed the mind to remain alert without urgency. Over time, tea became associated with intellectual labor, correspondence, and reflection. Writers mentioned it in letters. Scholars relied on it during long evenings. Tea did not create ideas, but it made space for them. Segment 12. Tea and Emotional Regulation. Tea also played a subtler role in emotional life. In many cultures, offering tea became a response to disruption. Grief, disagreement, fatigue, and uncertainty were met with the same gesture: sit, drink, wait. This was not therapy in the modern sense, it was a shared pause. The act of preparing tea redirected attention from emotion to process. Heat the water, choose the leaves, pour carefully. In doing so, tea provided a socially acceptable way to slow emotional escalation. It allowed silence without discomfort and conversation without pressure. Over generations, this association embedded itself deeply. Tea became a signal of care without intrusion. Segment 13. Tea beyond Europe. While tea reshaped daily life in Europe, its role elsewhere continued to evolve. In India, tea cultivation expanded under British rule during the 19th century, eventually becoming integrated into local custom. Chai, prepared with milk and spices, transformed tea into something communal and expressive. In the Middle East, tea became a symbol of hospitality, served repeatedly to guests as a sign of respect and welcome. In Russia, the samovar anchored long conversations and family gatherings. Across regions, tea adapted to local tastes while retaining its central function, creating time. This adaptability helped tea endure when other habits faded. Segment 14. Tea and the Absence of Urgency. One of tea's most enduring qualities is what it does not do. It does not demand speed. Even when prepared quickly, it cannot be rushed entirely. Water must heat. Leaves must steep. The built-in delay stands in contrast to many modern conveniences designed to eliminate waiting altogether. Tea preserves waiting as part of the experience. This may help explain why tea persists in an age of acceleration. It offers a moment where delay is not failure, but function. In this way, tea resists urgency without opposing progress. Segment 15. Tea in a digital world. In the 21st century, tea continues to exist alongside screens, notifications, and constant connectivity. It appears on the desks, beside keyboards, and beside beds at night. Some drink it absent-mindedly, others return to ceremony intentionally. Both approaches preserve the same core behavior, a pause within flow. Even now, tea often marks transitions, from work to rest, from noise to quiet, from activity to reflection. In this sense, tea has adapted once again, not by changing itself, but by fitting into new contexts. Segment 16. What tea did not do. Tea did not solve inequality, it did not prevent conflict, it did not create harmony by itself. What it did was simpler and more durable. It offered a repeatable pause. Over centuries, that pause replaced stronger habits, softened daily life, and reshaped how people managed attention, time, and presence. Its influence was not dramatic enough to notice at first. That is why it endured. Segment 17. Closing reflection. Tea accidentally changed the world not by ambition but by repetition. A small act, repeated daily, became a structure around which lives were organized. If you value this kind of slow, fact-based history, you can support this channel by subscribing, returning to listen another evening, or sharing it with someone who may appreciate history told gently. Your presence allows this work to continue quietly. And as you settle now, perhaps with a drink nearby, consider how many parts of your own day are shaped not by decisions, but by habits you return to without thinking. Thank you for listening. We will continue gently.